Welcome to Failure is Progress, presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. I am Coach Frankie Ortega.
And I am Coach Keith Barber. Join us today as we discuss everything going on inside the CrossFit space and, more importantly, what new and exciting things are happening in our Sweat Factory CrossFit gyms.
As always, thank you to all of our listeners. We appreciate the support and truly enjoy the feedback we've been receiving from all of you.
Please reach out through our DMs on Instagram. If you aren't already following us, please do so at Failure is Progress, all lowercase. And now, on to today's episode.
And we're back with another episode of Failure is Progress, presented by Sweat Factory CrossFit. All three of them.
All three of them, yeah.
Groveland, Claremont, Davenport. Man, it's been an exciting month. It's been a really exciting month. The Open finished.
Yeah.
Now we're getting ready for Festivus. Got a lot of athletes signing up, trying to get more. It's going to be a huge event.
It's going to be a big one.
Excited for that. I'm excited also for the coaches development that we've been going through, man. We've talked about it in the past, but I wanted to get into a little bit of what we talked about in our most recent Zoom call, which is nutrition. You know, you had some good questions on there for us, how we can bring nutrition up in our classes, and I think one of the things that stood out to me is that a lot of our athletes don't think about talking about nutrition with us. They only see us as maybe experts on movement or lifting weights, but they don't see us as credible
the whole package.
Credible nutrition coaches. You have your PN1 nutrition coaching certification. I know Jen does, Macy does, Valerie does. So a few of the coaches have it. Emmy over at Davenport, she has it. I'm working on mine. Yoli's working on hers. So we've got a knowledgeable staff, man.
Yeah, bro.
And I think it's important that we talk about that, because if we go back a few episodes and we talked about that theoretical hierarchy of athletic development. I love saying that. It just rolls off the tongue. Yeah, the base of everything we do comes down to nutrition.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. It's one of those things that I've struggled with most of my life. You don't seem like you struggle with it most of your life. Your genetics are different.
Yeah,
than
I mean,
mine.
when you run, almost 100 miles a week, it's you don't really have to try it. There's no genetics out there. That's literally like we're outworking any diet. You just run so much that it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter what you eat, but you're definitely not gonna get fat. My liver's probably gonna explode one day, or my kidneys are gonna blow out. But that's tomorrow's problem, you know.
So tomorrow. Thursday.
Yeah.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you, man, was, what is a simple nutrition tip that anyone can follow? Obviously we talk about the simple or the common things, right? Drink more water, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if you had to give one piece of advice that literally anybody could follow or implement into their day-to-day nutrition, what would it be?
That's the crazy thing about nutrition is it is so simple, but getting into the weeds can make it hard. So the simplest I can make it is eat real food, mostly plants,
Oh, but I said just one.
and only when you're hungry.
Okay, so
Oh, you meant like literally just one?
Yeah,
I
just
thought you meant
one
like one
simple-
phrase. Okay,
No,
yeah.
just
So
one
just
simple-
eat. So just the first one, eat real foods.
just real food.
Eat real food. Like if you can't go out in nature and like pick it
Hunt.
off a tree or kill it yourself, or if it doesn't exist like that out in nature, don't eat it.
So, would you say protein, as opposed to having a protein shake, you would prefer to eat a steak or a piece of chicken, something that's actual food versus having a protein shake, drinking it?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Now, if you are a larger male individual or even a larger female individual, because they, still need protein, that's That came out weird. That came out really weird. I don't know where I was going with that. But thank you for hanging me out to dry by myself. No comments.
I was wondering
All
where
right,
you
cool,
were
cool, cool,
going.
cool, cool. No, it's all right. It's all right. I'm here by myself. Yeah. So if you're a larger individual and you need more protein, so I would definitely suggest eating more throughout the day because trying to eat, 180 to 210 grams of protein a day, and you're trying to do that in 3 meals, can be a very daunting task. So I would suggest trying to break that up more often throughout the day. But yeah, definitely need to get those whole foods in. So get you a rotisserie chicken from Publix and tear it up.
Now I'm hungry. That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So, eating
I always
whole
eat the
foods.
worst foods after our nutrition talks because I get hungry and I'm just like, oh, now I got to get a pizza.
First thing you
That
find.
was,
Well,
was not what we talked about.
I'm glad you said that because the next thing I was gonna bring up was healthier alternatives, right? My kids are 13 and 9. They love to have pizza. Friday is pizza day, and I used to eat an entire pizza by myself. This was 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now, I try to go for cauliflower if they offer that, right? Obviously, not all cauliflower is the same, right?
Yeah.
But I'll try to go for a cauliflower alternative or a gluten-free crust. Domino's has these thin crust pizzas that are very, very, very paper cardboard thin and taste almost like cardboard crackers. It's like little crackers with cheese on them. But I'll go for that alternative because it's significantly less calories than eating their normal regular counterparts that don't have any effect on my children at the moment.
Yeah.
But healthier alternatives. How do you feel about that? Like now, I feel like we live in a really good time right now where you can go anywhere and get, zero sugar this, or you can get zero sugar that. You can have keto bread. How do you feel about those alternatives? In this day and age that we have those available to us.
And
And
I mean, I have lots of feelings about them. Is there anything specific?
I mean, I'll give you an example. One of my friends who is a nutritionist, he's of the mindset that he would rather you have real sugar as opposed to like Diet Coke, for example. He's like, if you want to have a Coke, just have a Coke. Don't have a Diet Coke. And I'm of the mindset that if you're going to offer me 300 and something calories or 240 calories versus 0 calories, I'll take 0 calories. Either way, you're going to be taking in substances and chemicals that aren't good for you, but one of them has 0 caloric, impact. The other one does. So how do you feel about that?
That's like one of those like it depends kind of conversations. But I will say that from a psychological standpoint, for me personally and my own nutrition, like if I'm going to decide to have pizza or decide to have a Coke, I'm going to have quote unquote real pizza. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
not going to have some off-brand weird like healthy alternative.
You're not going to eat what I would eat, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I absolutely hate cauliflower crust. It is the worst thing I've. Nope, I was gonna say it's the worst thing I've ever tasted, but I've tried sushi so many times and it lets me down every time. But people like rant and rave about it, and I'm just like, you keep breaking my heart.
You're missing out, bro.
I know. I wish I liked it. I don't. Sushi
Even-
and coffee. Those are
even
the
like the-
only two things that I'm like. It's coffee gets me every time because it smells so good, and then I taste it. And I'm like, nope, still gross.
You don't like
I
coffee?
don't like coffee.
How are we friends?
I don't know. I hate myself sometimes.
I have coffee like 6 times a day. Speaking of
I know.
nutrition.
Every time you talk about, having your cafecito, I'm like, oh man, that sounds good.
Maybe that's what it is. You
yeah.
haven't tried my Cuban coffee.
I haven't tried your Cuban coffee.
That might have to go
yeah.
down.
We may have to do that one day on the podcast.
But going back, so
Yeah.
I kind of lost track of where we were.
Yeah, I was saying how I like to have like the whole thing. My thing with that is moderation, right? Like if I'm of the mindset for myself that if I'm gonna have pizza, if I decide to have pizza, then it's okay for me to have pizza, but I don't need to have a whole pizza. You know what I mean? I'll either, well, I used to do this back when I had time to get people together, but I'll, have people over and like we'll order a pizza for everyone, and then I'll have a couple slices. That way I get my pizza fix, but I didn't go over on my calories by 10,000 calories because I ate two large pizzas by myself.
Right. Yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. If there's a whole pizza, I'm eating the whole pizza.
Even if you're like around others and you're like, having a good time and, you're playing some board games.
I think it goes back to when I was a kid and my grandmother would say, "You're gonna clean that whole plate, so you better eat every single thing on that plate." And it wasn't even a matter of, okay, I'm hungry or not hungry. It was just, I made this for you. You're going to eat all of it.
Yeah.
And I would eat the entire plate. And as I grew and got larger, I would just eat more and more. And that kind of continued on when I would go out to eat somewhere. And, little did I know that my grandmother's 800 calorie plate at Applebee's was 2,500 calories. But I would eat the entire plate at Applebee's, not knowing that, the French fries and the cheeseburger, it was all double, triple the amount of calories. So for me, speaking of psychologically, like, it's a matter of I'm just going to eat the. If you give me, half of a plate with food on it, and that's all you give me, I can eat that. But if the option is to continue eating more because it's available, psychologically, I just have to eat what's available.
Oh, yeah. So we would only get enough for everybody to have a certain amount. Like if it was like 8 guys, we'd get like 2 larges. So like that's enough for maybe, I forgot the math on it, but like that's
2
enough
slices
for,
of it.
2 slices per person. So it wasn't like we were getting like 4 and 5 pies and then it was only 8 of us and we can like eat a whole one by ourselves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was very like manageable. We each got a couple slices, we play some board games, some beer pong, whatever, pile around, have a good time. And then my mind's not on like, oh, I need to eat the rest of the pizza or whatever. Like even
see
if there
what you're
was
saying.
pizza left over, I'm like having a good time with my boys. So it wasn't a thing to where it's like, oh, I need to go eat again. It's because,
Yeah, the
you
food
know.
isn't the main event. The food
Exactly.
isn't the main thing that you're focused on.
Yeah, it wasn't like, hey, let's get together and have a meal.
Right.
It was like we're gonna get together and like hang out. We just happen to have food here.
Yeah, no, for us, I mean, and also like being Cuban, growing up in Miami, where I was from, all my friends were just like me, Cuban born kids or Miami born kids to Cuban descent, right? And we eat a lot of finger foods, very small little bites that come in multitudes. So, they don't tell you that they're whatever amount of calories each, but
Yeah.
like, if you bring me Cuban croquetas, like, I'm not leaving any for anybody else. It's going down. I'm going to eat as many croquetas as you give me because they're amazing. And that's the same with, pastelitos are covered in sugar and I honest to God, I could not tell you how many calories they have. Now that I'm where I'm at in my head, I can look at them and just be like, all right, cool, I'll have one. And then I'll walk away because I'll still see them, but I'll walk away,
I'll leave the house.
I'll make the conscious effort. But it is a difficult thing, man. Like even today it is a difficult thing. If I have a get together, like one of my buddies does a Super Bowl party and he puts out a hell of a spread and there's all kinds of stuff. The difference is now, like, I'll look at the tray that has the more carb-rich food, and I'll look at the tray that has the more protein-rich food, and, meatballs. I'll go and grab more meatballs than I'll grab, the other food, whatever, the breaded chicken wings or whatever. Although those are good, too.
Yeah.
The mac and cheese I stay away from. I don't.
love mac and cheese.
Yes, it is one of God's greatest creations, but it doesn't sit well with me, and it doesn't suit the lifestyle that I'm trying to live.
Yeah.
But I mean, I try to make the better choice. You know, even fast food. If I go to Chick-fil-A, I won't get a side of fries. I'll get a side of grilled nuggets because I'm trying to, or my intention is to get better options for myself. Not saying Chick-fil-A is good or bad, but an entire thing of waffle fries is extremely delicious.
It
And I
is.
can't just have 5 or 6 fries and put them down. I psychologically don't have the willpower to do that.
Mm.
So I just stay away from the fries altogether.
Yeah.
Now I want French fries and pizza.
I know. I told you every time we have one of these nutrition talks, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to eat everything I want now.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, going back to your original question, for me personally, I just try to have what I want to have. Like if I really want those waffle fries, I'll order a small. You know what I mean? That way I'm not eating a large and it's, you know, an extra 2,000 calories on top of that. Because cravings are real.
yeah, you know, I'll tell you a couple things that I've done that have really helped me curb cravings, right? So I have a really big sweet tooth. Just my dad always every day after dinner, hey, what's for dessert? What's for dessert? And I grew up with that, so I would always have dessert, and it was always ice cream, cereal. This is every single night, chocolate chip cookies, whatever. One thing that's helped me curb my sweet tooth a lot is adding salt to my water, whether it's Element Electrolytes or even the Isogenics brand that we were using. You know, now we have Podium salts. I'm using the blackberry one. Adding that to my diet first thing in the morning has really curbed my sweet tooth. I no longer have that necessity to have sweets all the time. And even like after dinner, I'll have yogurt with a scoop of protein versus, you know, ice cream. And sometimes I have to force myself to eat it just because I need to meet my protein goal for the day.
Yeah.
But the salt has really helped. And growing up, all I heard was salt was bad for you. Don't eat salt, whatever, whatnot. But again, with research and advancements in the medical industry, I guess not medical industry, the health industry,
Fitness, yeah.
we found that maybe we aren't having enough salt or good salt. But in terms of how I feel, electrolytes, you know, minerals, my migraines have gone down a lot because of having those salts. And the other thing that I found that helps me with the migraines too, at a little side note, is creatine.
Yeah.
Anytime I run out of creatine, within a day or two, I get these really massive migraines. And I don't know if it's because the creatine helps you retain water, so I'm extra hydrated, but maybe the dehydration is what causes it. But yeah, the salt has been huge for me, man. I even put salt in my coffee in the morning. I
Yeah?
put pink salt in my coffee. It's been a huge game changer for me. Probably, I would say that's the biggest thing, nutrition wise, that I've changed that has really changed my life. More than increasing my protein, more than anything else, more than increasing water intake, that and getting more sleep when I
Yeah.
can.
Sleep is where it's at.
I don't think a lot of people think about sleep as a nutrition component, but did we talk about that in one of the podcasts? I know we talked about it in the coaches meeting. That would be my biggest tip of advice to anybody listening. If you want to better your nutrition, get more sleep.
Yeah.
If you can get 15 extra minutes a day, if you can get 30 minutes extra a day, you know, and the biggest tip for achieving that, get in bed at the same time
Yeah.
every single night. Set a time that is doable. If it's 11 p.m., fine, but make sure that you're in bed by 11 p.m. every night and get as much sleep as you can, because it's good for your hormones. It's good for your circadian rhythm. It helps drop your cortisol levels. So that's a
It
big.
balances out your serotonin levels as well, so that you don't get as many cravings or as intense cravings. I think there was a study. I'm gonna get the place wrong. I think it was by Cambridge, but I could be wrong on that. They did a study on how intense people's cravings were when they're
Sleep deprived.
sleep deprived. Yeah, for every 30 minutes that you're sleep deprived, your cravings intensify by 10%. That is
Damn.
huge.
Well, I mean, one thing that a lot of people don't know is how many calories you burn in your sleep. You know, we've talked about this in the past. Bodybuilders, one of the biggest, I want to say, rules for bodybuilders, in order for them to increase mass, is sleeping.
Yeah.
They'll go hit a really hard workout, chug a couple protein shakes, and go to sleep. Because one, that's when you're building muscle the most. Your body is recovering, and it's easier to recover when your body's not moving.
Yeah.
But it also builds testosterone, and it supplements that recovery so well. So, I mean, yeah, dude, sleep is so necessary, and it's something that I took for granted most of my life.
Yeah.
And now I can't get enough of it.
It's also the only thing that you have direct control over that also directly affects your recovery. Like, we can foam roll all day, but if you've built up way too much stimulus, like if you're overtraining, I don't care how much you're going to foam roll, you're not going to recover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It may help and it may make you feel good because it does turn off certain neuroreceptors, but it's not going to necessarily directly affect your recovery. Sleep is the only thing that we have control over that is going to directly affect your recovery. So you're literally getting gains while you're snoozing.
Literally getting gains. That's a t-shirt. We should make a t-shirt.
We should make a t-shirt. All right,
Oh,
guys.
man.
Next apparel dropping. No.
All right, man. I don't think we have anything else for this one. You got anything else?
I don't think I have anything else. I mean, you know, I could talk forever, but we got to shout out Festivus. I know we did a small snippet in the intro or the beginning.
Festivus Games presented by LRX will be happening on April 20. You will be the head judge, correct?
I will be the head judge. What I was going to ask for all of our hundreds of thousands of listeners is that we do need some volunteers. So if you can find it in your heart to do something special for somebody else, volunteer your time and help us out judging. You don't have to judge, though. There's other positions that we do need filled for volunteers. So get in contact with Jen Rice. If you don't know who that is, just go ahead and DM us and we will get you in contact with her. That way we can get you on the list for volunteering.
Absolutely. All right, my man. This was fun.
This is a good one.
Take care, everybody.
They're all good ones. Take care.